All right, Garrett Johnson here with Denny McCarthy. We're at Caves Valley, not too far from where you grew up here in Maryland. But you know what? I want to get into the Open Championship because we got a huge major coming up. You just played the U.S. Open. How do you get ready on the range for conditions you're going to play when you're at the Open, when you arrive on a Monday?
Yeah, I've already kind of started to hit some shots that, I might see at the British Open. And so, I played Portrush actually in the British Am back 2014, and I really liked the place. So I'm really looking forward to getting back there. So I know most of the holes they added. I played the old course where the old 17, 18. I think they added 2 new holes kind of in the middle of the course. So, yeah, I'm really excited to getting back there. Like I said, I've already started to kind of hit some shots to prep for the week.
And as you're there on that Monday, getting warmed up, like what is? Are you thinking wind? Are you thinking what are the prevailing winds? How are you studying for the Open that week?
Yeah, I think my caddy and I will get together. We typically look at the forecast, and when we're playing practice rounds or on the range, talking about the course. This is the wind. These are the winds we're going to get, and then start talking about some tee shots. This is the wind we're going to get. Could be really downwind and you want to hit something high. It could be really into the wind and you want to kind of keep something out of the air, hit something really low and driving. So those are all things we're always thinking about. The wind, what direction certain holes are going to play, and what kind of shot you see off the tee or into the green on certain holes. So, we're doing a lot of that prep work on the range. It's nice to get on the course and do it, but also talking about on the range and kind of practice those extra reps on the range is key on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Speaking of those extra reps, like, are you thinking 18 as you're standing out? This is the tee shot at 18. This is the approach on 7. Like, these are the 2 shots that really give me an issue.
Yeah, for sure. And you're trying to get a feel on the range to get comfortable with that. And so, one day the shot on 18 could be this with this wind. Could be this other one with a total opposite wind. Those are things that we're prepping for, and you're making sure you're getting comfortable with on the range.
Well, with the range and your routine, how long is it normally, and what do you really want to get in your feels? Is there a go-to drill that's really helped you in the last few months?
Yeah, I'd say mainly for me it's kind of my posture and how I'm taking it away. If I can get a good loaded backswing, I feel like I'm going to be able to kind of go down through the ball and hit the shot that I want to.
What does loaded mean? You're saying like you got everything
it's
to the right?
It's really just some postural tendencies that I have. I creep into some bad posture tendencies, and it's really hard to load. So when I think about loading, almost think about hitting a baseball hitter, like really loading into the right side, or a pitcher loading, getting ready in their windup to kind of go down the pitcher's mound. It's kind of a similar feel loading up in the golf swing. I want to feel like I'm moving downhill and not fighting against it. I try and keep it as simple as possible. Some people like to be really technical, and I like to kind of try and keep my feels as simple as possible.
Speaking of feels, with putting, how different is it? You know what I mean? You've gone through fast greens here in America, and you go, how do you prepare? Like what little games can you play to prepare yourself for those greens?
It's kind of hard, honestly. I mean, typically greens over there don't have that much break or that much slope, and when it's windy, you're almost playing more wind than you are break. So when the wind's really blowing, if it's blowing 30 miles an hour off your right, but it's a left to right putt, it might end up breaking overall right to left just because the wind is so strong. So people don't realize how much of an effect the wind can have on your ball in putting. So if it gets to those conditions where the wind's really blowing, those greens aren't that slopey. Typically they're slower, so you're playing more wind, like I said, and they're typically a little slower over there because of those wind speeds. They're always somewhat cautious, so it's definitely a little bit of an adjustment. You feel like you can be pretty aggressive, and you need to be on certain putts, especially into the wind. If you have into the wind putts over there, they're really slow, and you need to give them a good whack. So it's stuff that you kind of you figure out in the practice rounds Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on the putting green, making sure you're comfortable when the tournament starts.
Speaking of those practice rounds, like what kinds of things, games or mental thoughts are you going through to get ready on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? What does that look like for Denny McCarthy?
Yeah, it's typically on a normal tour week, 9 Tuesday, and then the other 9 holes Wednesday in the Pro-Am. I've played all those places enough to where, you know what to do on all these places. Obviously, going to an Open Championship venue that I haven't played that much, I might sneak in another 9 holes or a couple. It might be a full 18 one day. I don't know. I don't like to typically play 18 holes. Just takes a lot of energy. The practice rounds are typically somewhat slow. So maybe 9 Monday, 9 Tuesday, 9 Wednesday. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. Sometimes that's weather dependent. Sometimes you get out there and you get this wind on Monday, but we're not going to see this wind the rest of the week. So it could be somewhat, it would be nice to still get out and see the course, but almost counterproductive because you're not going to see any of the shots. You're going to be hitting totally different clubs and the holes play totally different. So the wind plays a factor in, how much you do on the course Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It just kind of depends. I don't have like a set, I have to do this every single Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. It just kind of depends on kind of how I'm feeling from the previous week and what the weather's doing.
Yeah, a couple more quick things. You mentioned the weather and the wind. What's just the right attitude for you as Denny? Like, what's the right attitude to have about the wind during an Open Championship? What's worked for you?
I typically play well in the wind. I live down in Florida where it gets quite windy, and so you got to have an aspect of really controlling your ball, and that's something I feel like I do really well when it gets windy.
Abbreviated follow-throughs, or what kind of things help?
It just depends. Yeah, if it's into the wind, maybe I don't even know. You just kind of get into your own little world and kind of play the wind and let the wind dictate what kind of shot that you want to hit. And I feel like you start getting into playing golf shot more than golf swing. You start having to be a creative. You have to be really creative in terms of what you're doing with your ball flight, and I like those rounds. I feel like I lower my expectations. I go out and I play freely, and I try and have as much fun with it as possible.
I know you got your caddy out there you've had for a while. What do you guys do so well together? Get the best out of you.
I think we stay within our limits. I have gotten better and have added more shots to my arsenal, but that doesn't mean I can go take on and try and hit the hero shot all the time. I think we do a good job of managing our game, missing it in the right places. Sometimes there's a lot of times where yes, I can hit this shot, but the percentage is really low, and if I don't pull it off, it leaves us in a really bad spot. So let's hit this club, and it's still got a chance to be good. And if it misses, it's a much more manageable up and down, higher percentage to save par. So I think that's some of the stuff that I do really well, is kind of thinking my way around the golf course, knowing my game, knowing my strengths, just knowing how to pick apart a golf course, and not trying to be the hero and trying to go out and kind of game plan and try and just shoot a score.
We always want to be the hero. That's the name of the game in golf, right? But always appreciate the time. Great to see you, and good luck at Portrush.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it, Garrett.